All right, YouTube video with Mr. James Fletcher. James, how are you?
I'm good, man. How about yourself?
I'm doing fine, thank you.
Good.
So let's jump into it.
Yeah, let's jump.
It's been a while since I've made YouTube videos, and so I think it would be really fun and interesting to make them. I'm thinking about talking to friends who I think are interesting. So like if I can find a Japanese friend or anyone really, I want to make videos along those lines.
Sounds good.
And today we're at your school, your English school. So just gonna flash the camera around here. So you got your pictures. You got, what do you call this here?
That's my gallery. The whole school is basically my gallery.
Yeah,
I turned it into my art gallery.
Yeah, I like
and
how
my friends' works as well.
You got some of your friends' stuff on the wall too?
Yeah, I've got some friends' works on the wall as well. So
you've decorated your place, you personalized it, made it yours, and does that make you feel more comfortable when you're doing your style?
It does, yeah. It helps me retain my sanity, so it's a good thing.
So it's kind of like you have your profession and your hobby kind of melded together, which is really cool.
Yeah, it's nice.
Like personalizing your desk, but it's your whole room, really.
Exactly. Yeah. I like it.
Okay. So with Mr. Fletcher, whenever we meet, I find it doesn't take long for us to go from catching up about what's happening just in general in our lives, and just like anybody does, like a friendly chat. It goes from that into talking about the intricacies of quantum physics or quantum mechanics and something like
in hyperspace.
We always end up talking about something like that, yeah. And it's like, wait, what are we talking about? We gotta go. So
yeah, we kind of get off planet pretty quickly.
Yeah.
So.
And for me, like, well, first of all, we both have read or are into that, right? And for me, I discovered that enthusiasm when I was in high school. So I would often go to any good bookstore, or even like the half-price books. My mom used to take me when I was younger.
Right.
Didn't have a car yet. And I would go check out the Cosmos section or like the Einstein section or whatever, and read about the theory of general relativity and the research on quantum mechanics. And so how did you get into this whole mess?
I think through science fiction. So I've always been a science fiction fan. And interested in space travel, and used to read a lot of science fiction books. So I've always been interested in the cosmos, and used to watch a lot of documentaries on TV about space and so on, space travel. So, and I love science. I really like science. Because science is discovering about the universe. Mm-hmm. And then my interests have spread beyond science to spiritual things, which I find comes around full circle back to science again, because it's all a way, spirituality and science is just a way of understanding the
yourself,
universe. Well, ourselves and where we come from.
And we're connected to the universe. After all, we're just one part of it. So
yeah, it's really interesting.
I was gonna say that this was, like I said, in high school, so it was kind of a part of like what I am into changes. There's like a chain of events or connections. So I went from all the science stuff like theoretical physics and quantum mechanics. That was a stage. Then I started getting into, like you said, spiritual, like Hinduism, and then now I'm into Christianity more and learning about religion again. But also I found the Taoism and like health, and instead of like thinking up here about the universe, really making a part of your body, being healthy, respecting the temple of your body through food or exercise or deep breathing or whatever. So right. I think that's kind of still where I'm at a little bit now, but I'm still learning, So
yeah.
So is that where?
Yeah, it's like we're all on a journey of self-discovery. So I think that's why life is so interesting. It's because we have to do daily chores, and we have to survive in this world. We have to make money, and but really the interesting thing about life is the mystery. It's asking the big questions. And people are usually pretty busy and they don't have time to explore those big questions. But now we've got YouTube, we've got instant communication, we've got the information revolution happening all around us. So it's really easy now to explore things on the internet and get information, and so it's just a really good opportunity to explore different kinds of spirituality, different kinds of ideas.
You don't have to be an expert on some certain field these days to just get the basic information out there. If you want to get into the research and try to push the research further, of course you got to have that educational background, of course.
Yeah. So you can specialize, or you can be very a generalist. I'm a bit more of a generalist because I'm always hopping from idea to idea.
Yeah.
But I always find that that you can find really useful, amazing information from many different sources.
Okay.
And then they all somehow connect and reinforce each other. I find that really fascinating. That from completely different sources you can get a really interesting insight about some question that you might have had, and from two totally different sources you can get some big insight that supports or refutes your original idea.
Yeah, definitely, for sure. And by the way, we're already at 5-6 minutes, so I'm probably gonna cut this up into like 10-minute videos or something if we get that far. So the next question, just really quick, is I've been kind of thinking, we talked about this when we were having lunch before, I feel like life in general is a blessing. Like life is something of abundance. Like we have this experience not to be sad or depressed, and sure, we live in a world that's a little bit involved in that. But I think mainly it's life is a progression of adventure and learning, and to feel good. So what do you think the role of suffering is in our world? Why is it so innate in our human experience? This is a tough question, I'm sorry.
That's what Buddha spent his lifetime trying to answer, was why do we suffer? That's what Buddha spent his whole life trying to answer, that question. Like, why is there suffering? Why do we suffer?
Well, but yeah, that's true. So why do I...
I don't know, I'm not Buddha.
Well, what, in your opinion, is the role and function of this aspect of life? However, there's like this duality of life is... is like inherently a good, and the universe moves in a good direction. However, we do have this other unfortunate experience, I guess you could say. So there's like a burden part of life, and we can't escape that because we live kind of in a broken world. So do you think that this kind of is something we have to experience to maybe try to make the world a better place, or to evolve our own selves? Or what do you think?
I think it's a bit of both. I think we're here to evolve ourselves, but we're also here as part of a human collective. So I think both are valid. And suffering is an important thing in this world. Everybody experiences it. But one thing I guess is true is that nothing lasts forever. Even suffering doesn't last forever. But maybe it has something to teach us. But I agree with what you said, that life... We didn't come here to get a job for Toyota or IBM, and that's not our purpose. Our purpose, I don't know what our purpose is, but it's probably more to have an adventure and to explore and to have a good time. Right. I don't think it's to suffer endlessly. I don't think that's why we're here. And I think the great thing is that life is very mysterious, and there's a lot to explore. So it's a wonder. Life is good, it's exciting, and it's mysterious, and I love that sense of wonder. And I think Einstein said that that's the greatest thing, is the sense of wonder. And then everybody can explore and share ideas, and so that's why it's really fun to talk to people like you, because I enjoy talking to people who are also... There are lots we talk about off camera that I probably won't ask you on here, but a lot of my personal beliefs will probably be a little bit controversial or whatever, but... well, what I find is it's really interesting talking to people who are on a journey, who are also exploring. Some people have stopped exploring, they've found the answer, and then their journey stops. Or they get caught up in life and... getting by in this world, we have to have money to support ourselves and our loved ones. People get caught up in reality, but I always try and escape reality. I think escaping reality is pretty important too. From time to time, I mean, just watching a good television show or something. I think the world is meant to be enjoyed, and I think laughter, love, story narrative is what makes life interesting. It's interesting that humans love stories. As children we love stories. As adults we watch TV dramas. I like Star Trek. So I think the narrative aspect of human nature is also connected to how the universe. I think the universe is like a story. It's got a beginning, a middle, and an end, and maybe different chapters. So
I think I remember you told me one time that like we watch dramas, but our own lives are like already super drama filled. Like, why do we gotta watch TV? Like, we already live in like having our own crazy story,
Yeah.
Alrighty. Well,
that's a good point, and I think most people are caught up in a story, like they're part of one of the characters in a story. Maybe they work in a job they don't like, but some people wake up from that, and they become like first of all the audience. They start observing their life, and then ultimately you become the author of your life. You kind of step back, and you start taking control, and then you can enjoy life even more.
Right. We're designed like we experience the life, this body in our life. We have the body to get around in this life. But how many of us really stop and objectively look at all the factors in our life? Like, okay, we're just this kind of person doing this kind of thing, and we have these people around us.
Right.
Like, objectively looking at yourself is difficult too, right?
Yeah, most people are just so caught up that they can't see from the outside. So I think meditation and spiritual practice helps us kind of step back and observe ourselves, and that gives us the opportunity to become the observer, and then later on to become the director of our own movie, and that becomes more fun. So life becomes a creative process rather than being a mindless, unaware participant. We actually step back and become more aware.
I think a good philosophy of part of Taoism is kind of in alignment, like do everything to your advantage.
Right.
So I think having some more conscious awareness of yourself will allow you to have more dominion or control over the factors that influence your life, instead of just being passive and letting bad things happen to you.
Yeah, like be involved, like be a creator, create your life.
I mean, we are creators, I believe. This whole universe was created, or is a creative universe.
Yeah, it's a creative universe.
So we have as a part of this universe, we have that inherent right to have power. I don't know what I'm saying, but you know what I mean.
We have free will. That means we have the free choice to create our own reality. So we can choose a positive path and negative path, and the universe will support us with abundance in either choice that we make. So I think we are co-creators of this reality. We have a lot of freedom to create our immediate experience and also our future. So
it's going to take some more time, though. We still have like all these separate countries, threats of war and money and all this bullshit.
Well, if you follow the media, you just think the world's falling apart, but actually it's not. And I think the media kind of focuses on all the negatives, so you get a very negative image of what's really going on. But actually, I think there's a lot of
life is predominantly a good thing.
So it's a good thing.
There are bad things. There are things like sex trafficking, and there's just a bunch of negativity in this world.
Yeah, and but we are evolving. It's becoming impossible for those kind of organizations that are involved in those crimes to keep it secret, because information can leak out. I think the world is getting better, but if you watch the news, you think it's getting worse.
Okay.
And it's kind of like 2 steps forward, 1 step back. But it is, the trend is getting better. People are getting more aware. They're making connections with people all around the world because of the way the internet works, social media works. It crosses boundaries, so people are forming friendships.
So what about President Trump? Step back or step forward? No, I'm just kidding. But anyway, it's 15 minutes almost. So
okay.
Let me cut this one and we'll start part 2.
Yeah.
Next one. So part 2 is right after this.